Okay, Ramblers, let's get rambling.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Dr. Nick.
Some Dumb Guy here, and welcome to episode 24 of SumDumWatch. This episode will cover the week of March 10th through March 16th, and today being the 17th, wishing all of you who apply happy St. Patrick's Day, for whatever value that might have to you. Me personally, not so much. And excuse the mess here, but I've got a little sleeping mound of kittiness hiding underneath this blanket. Otherwise that thing wouldn't be there. We mustn't disturb the kitty. She likes the blanket. I don't have a lot to share this week. Again, things have been a little bit whirlwindy. So we're somewhat themed. Something I teased recently as an idea, and I went ahead and pulled the trigger on it. I just wish I had a little bit more to show for it, but we'll give it a try this week, see how it plays out, maybe do it again sometime. First and foremost, my recent addition to my 4K of Rio Bravo, starring John Wayne, Dean Martin, and Ricky Nelson. Also starring, is she here? Is she here? Is she here? She is not. There she is. The very lovely Angie Dickinson, which may be my first movie I've ever seen her in, and she is quite the fetching lady in this film. I don't know what it is about movies of this. I think I was born in the wrong century is all I'm gonna say, or at least the wrong end of it. This is a 1959 film. You know, John Wayne, not exactly a young man here. I am actually hesitant to look up his age when he made this, because I know that Angie Dickinson was in her 20s, and the romance with John Wayne seems a little bit implausible, but you know, it is what it is. First time ever seeing this. Now, it occurred to me as I was going through here that my John Wayne experience overall is pretty limited. If I'm not too much mistaken, prior to this, it was limited strictly to True Grit and Rooster Cogburn. Rooster Cogburn was the first I saw. Didn't ever know it was a sequel at the time. I think I saw that when I was about 11. And True Grit I probably saw 2010 or 11. I watched it for the first time right around the time of the fresh, I'm not going to call it a remake because it's not, the readaptation of the novel starring Jeff Bridges. I think I watched those two pretty closely back to back to do a comparison on. I enjoyed this one. This was a bit of a lengthy film too. I was surprised just how many of these John Wayne films are 2 hours and over. Yeah, so this bad boy is 141 minutes. And I think this might have actually been my first Dean Martin film that I've ever seen too, if I'm not mistaken. I've seen clips on network TV of little bits and pieces of his films when I was a kid, but never actually saw one all the way through. Anyway, I'll say I enjoyed Rio Bravo quite a lot. Wasn't what I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but it turned out to be a good experience. Moving along, I decided to jump way ahead to 1976, and John Wayne, I believe this was his last film role in The Shootist. This is a great film. Very unique in the Western genre as far as I'm concerned. Got John Wayne. We have an older Lauren Bacall, whom I don't think I'd ever seen anything prior to either. Young Ron Howard. How great for him at his age in his career to get to star alongside John Wayne in his last film. And this is, you know, it's a tragic story across the board because John Wayne passed away. I think it's like 3 years after this made, but he was essentially already dying of cancer himself, and he knew it. And this is an adaptation of a novel about an aging gunslinger who is dying of cancer, aware of it, and it's his last days, and trying to come to terms with what's happening to him, how he wants to go out. Much more of a dramatic role than anything I would have expected from him with my limited experience. Also unique for its time frame. This takes place in 1901 in Carson City, and for a traditional Western film event on any level to take place in the 20th century, I had a little bug. Something I don't think I've ever seen before, so that was really cool. Last but not least, in my mini John Wayne, I'll call it John Wayne week, with one exception. This was also a recent pickup, I believe, for my last unboxing. This bad boy, see, this one clocks in at 127 minutes, so over 2 hours again. The shoot is, going back to it for a moment, it clocked in at 100 minutes. So this was the shortest of the three. This one going back 1963, starring John Wayne and the very lovely Maureen O'Hara. First time viewing for her too, which she was absolutely stunning in this film. This is McClintock with an exclamation point. Pretty much everybody that says his name, whether they pronounce it McClintock or McClintock, do so quite vocally. So maybe that's the whole purpose for the exclamation point in the title here. I found this to be a fun romp. The mound is moving. It lives. A fun romp. And almost a nonsensical story, I thought. It took me a while for this one to get going. I think it took me probably 3 sittings to get through this one, and I think I fell asleep twice. No fault of the movies. I can fall asleep watching Raiders of the Lost Ark. I have in the movie theater. It seemed like a collection of loose strings all over the place that were just kind of tumbleweed on a breeze, maybe? I don't know. It seemed very meandering for quite a while. And I think even part of the overall heart of the story that everything is built around is kind of left undetermined, and that involving a Native American tribe that is central to the overarching storyline that's being told. It's kind of like, a big dramatic thing and then gone, and then it's just like, well, what happened? I don't know. Am I blurry? I don't know. I feel blurry. What's it like to feel blurry? Here's my odd man out. Why? Because I was kind of watching this as some background action going on when I was editing footage for my last unboxing video. I was watching it, I was not watching it, and then I'd already decided that I wanted to do John Wayne week, but obviously didn't want to start it with something I hadn't seen before while my attention was split. It grows. So anyway, this is kind of a go-to guilty pleasure for me, but it's also a background film. I have a few of those where just like my attention's not going to be completely on it. I will play it. And this is my 4K of Pacific Rim. This is just a fun, stupid movie that I have owned on Blu-ray and now 4K. I don't watch it too terribly often, but just like I said, dig it. I love the soundtrack on this film. The visuals are, of course, amazing. Not a lot of it makes a whole lot of sense. Probably most of it doesn't. And it just defies explanation on most levels. And you know what? Sometimes that's okay if you're going to declare something a guilty pleasure film. You don't really need to justify it. 131 minutes, so we're over 2 hours on this bad boy. I want to say this came out I saw it in the theater when it first released. 2013, maybe 14. Trying to find that elusive copyright date on a 4K slipcover. It's really disappointing. They're so good at not doing things right with the 4K format. Who cares? Like I said, 13 or 14-ish. Speaking of films I've seen in the theater, I went in for 2, which is part of the reason why my John Wayne marathon got cut short. First and foremost, Thursday, I went in for an early afternoon show of Mickey 17. I haven't determined what I think of this movie yet. I have not. I don't know. Overall, I feel like I liked it. However, it was, or at least it felt like it was 2 hours and 17 minutes, excuse me. It felt like 3 hours. Somewhere, somehow, the fun part of this film got sidetracked and it dragged. Probably a lot could have been cut out. A good 20 minutes or so, maybe more. The story took a turn for something that I would not have chosen for it, and touched on a subject that made me incredibly uncomfortable, which is probably why things just came to a screeching halt. So as of now, no plans to own this one when it comes out on physical media. The next one, however, I certainly would have no qualms about buying when it comes out. We have Blurry Reveal here. We have Novocaine, which I saw the same day, a few hours later. So I went from a 12:45 show to a 5:15 show. Novocaine was a blast. It's exactly everything the trailer represented it to be. No surprises as far as that goes. The storyline is simple and straightforward. It's crisp. It runs through. I did not check the runtime on that, though. I didn't feel like it was long. It didn't drag for me. It moved along at a pretty brisk clip. It was something that I could definitely watch again. It was funny in all the right ways. It was cringe in all the ways you'd expect it to be for what the story was, in the sense of like shocking, like, oh, moments, you know, when you have a character whose lead role is a man who cannot feel pain and going on this spree that is nonstop action, violence, where kitty, you want to make your cameo? Huh? Say hi to the audience. There's the kitty. There's the little sugars. Say hi, sugar. You are very soft. I don't know how you do that. She's like, leave me alone. Just woke up. I'm cranky. Yeah, this guy gets himself into some serious shit, and we feel it as the audience, even though he can't. So I had a lot of fun with that, and I would see it again, and I would definitely own it and add it to my library. Kitty, you're so silly. Notably missing this week, and apologies for, I guess it would be my first lack of consistency in this regard. I've got no Frank Capra entry. I was not able to get it into the lineup. I tried. I got stuck on McClintock a little longer than I should have, and I needed to finish it before recording, which I actually finished it first thing this morning, because it couldn't have been a John Wayne week with only 2 John Wayne titles. I can barely justify calling it a John Wayne week with 3 titles. So if I'm going to do any kind of themed weeks from here forward, I think I need to plan those out a little better. So also consequently, no TV, no Seinfeld to continue on with that. I was trying to set as much aside as I could, and still didn't accomplish my goal. Speaking of unaccomplished goals, pre-editing, we're over 17 minutes on this very short episode of SumDumWatch, where I have a whopping 4 movies and 2 theatrical viewings. So we're going to be done. My failure is hilarious sometimes. We're all done. I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you for watching. What did you watch this week? What did you think of what I watched this week? Do you have any recommendations to add to my future unboxings and consequently future SumDumWatch episodes? Please drop the words in the word box and let me know. And I thank you all for watching. Good night. Have a pleasant evening. Happy St. Patrick's Day.